it's time for the big boy here. So this is gonna be for the Riverside County Fairgrounds, aka the Date Festival. So this is gonna be really big boy here. So big that I'm going to be kind of breaking this up into multiple Corel Draw files actually and multiple videos. So I'm just going to give this sort of as an introductory one. I've already sort of sent some files. So this will be kind of the overall scope of work and kind of show the LOE, you know who you are, and just try to get, get our eye in, show you what I'm thinking, what parts I'm sending and how I'm breaking it up. And then from there, I'll probably just give smaller videos as needed. Also, for install, I'll probably just do a whole video just for install. So because this thing is very, very big. So that being said, let's get after it. So it's going to be the fairgrounds. It's going to be broken up into several chunks. The main thing to know about it is that we've got some stonework on the bottom, and it's going to be broken up into the major boxes. So what I got here is this is the OG. This is the old busted. So you can see where this is going away. We're going to be adding. You can see where the blue is. We're adding more posts there, so you can see where the tan kind of peachish is the existing poles, and you can see where they fit in there. So it's going to become quite large. So what I wanted to do is just give you the lay of the land. Sup, Wiener Schnitzel. So right now this is 111. 111's laid out almost perfectly east-west. So what you got here is you got the north or the north side. This side faces, Yucca. What's up, Mr. Bolt? So that side faces Yucca. This side facing this way is going to be facing west. This is the west side face, faces Palm Springs. The other side is the east. That'll be facing Arizona, and then the south. Now there really isn't anything on the south other than there will be access doors. On this pole is where the electrical is already, so they're going to keep that, but we're just going to be extending the pole up, but we're going to be kind of keeping all the stuff there for the new displays and everything. So just kind of to keep in your mind what I'm calling out and what stuff faces which way. But like I say, we're keeping the existing poles and just reworking this. But north faces the street, south faces the parking lot or entrance or whatever, and then west faces this way. Pretty much I started on the west. That was kind of what was given to me. So like organically, this is the west side that faces. So that's it. So just the layout of like how this is all laid out and which way faces what. So more for install, but also you guys can kind of keep in mind that this is what it looks like over there. So, but anyway, so that's it. So let's, I'll show you where we're starting. So we have basically like a surround that's going around the TV screens. And then it's just going to be panels here. And then there's stonework down at the bottom. Well, I'm calling it rock. It's going to be cultured stone, but I just called it rock because S is, it gets confusing. So I just called it R. So there's rock down here. And then there's the surround. And then there's the panels. And then there's the letters. So you can see the side and the views and stuff like that. So that's where this kind of started. And then I realized that, I'm at 1800 right now. 1800 is the maximum, 1800 inches is the maximum file size you can use in 1-to-1 scale in Corel. So I quickly realized that, yes, you can see Harold or Hank, whatever his name is. You can see this thing's pretty big. So what I did is I broke it apart into 14 different sections. 8 of those are essentially monument signs that are really skinny. And 6 of those are cabinets that create that surround. So I'll show you how it's laid out, and that way you can get an idea what's up. So the top panel, I'm going to call that the crown. I'm calling that the crown. And then there's the east and west, because there's one facing this way and one facing that way. There's the main vertical here that runs all the way down. There's 2 of those. And then I'm calling these, like I said, the rock. You have the front facing rock, and then you have the east and the west rock. Those are 3 panels that wrap. And then you have this one here is the main panel. This is called I call this the front vertical north or something like that. I forget. But anyway, so you'll see that right there makes up the whole front of the sign, and it kind of ties in the surrounds. Then you're left with these basically 6 boxes. You got 3 per side, little cabinets. And those will be like the surround that surrounds the TV screen area. So this is where the screens are there. And so that's kind of how it breaks it down. So other than the fact that all of these need to connect to each other, that's really the challenge. But if I were to give you essentially 8 monument signs that are pretty skinny and only have, they only have faces on one side, you'd be like, cool. I know you guys can knock these out. You guys can knock a monument sign out before lunch if you guys are, hopping. So as far as, being intimidated by how big the sign is, really, you're just going to be cranking out a lot of cabinets, and you guys are really good at that. And then you're going to have these 6 little skinny cabinets, and these won't even have jigs. We're going to go jigless design on that just to make it easy, keep it lightweight. But I mean, this right here is over 12 feet, so it's still big. This is going to be, 16 feet, whatever it is. So it's just the scope, it's just the size of things. That's all. So, but anyway, so that way you kind of get an idea. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So like I said, we got crown. So I'm calling that CW. So I'm going to break this cabinet here into crown, west and east. I'm calling this the main vert west. So that's going to be this whole guy here. You're going to build this into one big old panel there. And then, like I said, I've got the rock west, which is this guy, and the rock east. Those I've already sent. And then you have the rock north, which is this little panel here. But all of these connect to each other. First and foremost, these panels get attached to the poles. And then rock north actually attaches to the poles, but also is going to tie into its buddy panels to create that wraparound for the rock. And then once those are in, really the last thing, ironically, the first thing I sent will probably be the last thing installs, is this whole front part here, which I call the front vert north. So it's essentially one big old long box that is going to be lifted into place, and then it's going to bolt in and hang off of crown west here, and it's going to go ahead and nestle in and get attached to rock west and east, and then that'll be its attachment point. So it kind of just floats there because we didn't really have a contingency plan for attaching it to the actual pole itself because we didn't know what was happening with the TVs. So I think it'll be okay if this actually just floats, but it's going to tie into this. So it was beyond that pole anyway, so it's not really a big deal. So that's kind of how it's going to be broken down for you guys. So right now, like I said, I've already got these 3 out to you, wrap around plus the front, good to go. It just kind of depends, but I'll probably start working on this guy and get these 2 out to you. And then, work on this. I'm giving, this gives RNS time to give us the pattern before I do the letter holes and stuff. Maybe I can put the holes up there, whatever. So, so basically that's it. That's kind of like the scope of work. That's kind of how it's all laid out. And again, really, I'd be confident that you guys could kind of figure out what it is. I don't really need to hold your hand on a lot of this, but I'm just going to point out some of the stuff just so that way you can kind of know what's up. And then, like I said, I'll still give you heads up on stuff as I send parts. But so as a side view, all the way around, it's going to have this 3x2 track you're going to bend up, and that's going to get riveted to all the way around to the different boxes. So when I create this box, it's going to have mounting provisions all the way. You'll see that that's what this is all about. So on both sides of this guy, you can see the orange with the dots there. That's going to be these fins. I call them deco fins, decorative fins. So you're just going to make those, and they're going to get riveted to the inside. So all of these boxes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. This thing's really tough. When it's at 1800, I'm jumping all around, forgive me. But so you'll have it on this box here. You're going to have it on top of this box here and on this side box here. And then, like I say, you'll have it on that. But otherwise, really, this stuff is kind of stuff you've already seen. So there's not a whole lot of stuff to get into on that. But that being said, let's get after it. Let's talk about let's focus on north right now and what I've sent you. So let's talk about the lay of the land. So let's see, you know what? I need a page turner for this. Boom, page turner. So we've got all the frames. I already saw these little pieces right here. These are pretty identifying. So those were already routed. So you guys have already chewed through that. You'll have your fins and you'll have all the jiggies. Unfortunately, it is an asymmetric. So you have a C-channel face seam here that you don't have in the back. And then also because, like I said, everything has to bolt to itself, to its buddy. You're going to have a lot of this where you're going to have some 1/2 inch by 13 nuts that are going to weld into the 090. So keep that in mind. Look for those as you're building. Also, I tried to keep the reference kissing to a minimum because there's so much to do, but I think it's necessary because there's so many parts. But try to keep all of these binned because I didn't really put anything on here. And they kind of pretty much are specific to each thing. I'm trying to copy them and save time, but I wouldn't bet that, this jig here fits in any other. So make sure you're keeping track of the Foxtrot, Victor, November stuff here. Keep that in a bin, try to keep it all together. Skins are pretty obvious. Mount plates are pretty obvious. And so then because I was kind of doing north and this wasn't too huge, I went ahead and did the north rock frame. So the rock frame is really simple. It's almost less than 6 inches wide, and it's just going to be a quick little bad boy here. So you got the frames there. You got some quick jiggies, and you have the skin only on the front because these are just supporting rock, and you'll have your jiggies there. So let's talk about the North Vert. Really, there's nothing to talk about. Like I'm saying, you guys are going to do, I think, pretty good work on these because they're just big boxes. You guys are used to that. You're going to skewer. This is 2x3. Let's talk about the cut list. I've got 2x3 and I got 2x4. The 2x4s are going to be for the horizontal supports because they have to put up with the weight of itself kind of torsion. And when you lift it, this is the lift point, it's going to be kind of wanting to sag down or whatever. But on the stuff that's vertical, I went ahead just to save weight. I'm going to do 2x3 on these. Really, the only problem they'll have is when they're actually horizontal. And then when you go to lift at the end, while it's only at, 10 degrees, it's got to support its own weight. But once it gets vertical, then these sticks really aren't doing much. They're going to be in tension, but there's not really much necessary, But when you got these guys, when you got a box like this and you're going to be lifting it here and here, you got sag. So you want that strength. Same thing here. We're doing 2x4 on the rock surrounds, rock west, east, and north. So you want to bring in a bunch of 2x4 and, so at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 10 sticks of 2x3. And I'd bring in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, another 8 sticks of 2x4. Of course, we'll use it. So bring it in. But anyway, so for north though, really that's it. You're going to make this box. The only thing I want to point out is you're going to do something like you just did with Eisenhower, is you're going to rivet the mount plates to the inside structures here. And then that's going to allow you to reference them in. So you can see where the 1/4 inch plate goes to the outside of this strut and it goes the outside there. And then that allows this long boy here to skewer through, and you're going to have the entire 2x3 going along here to weld. Now, of course, please don't weld the entire thing. That's not needed, but give it some really good welds because, homegirl's saying right here, because this is supporting the weight of this cabinet here, and then it's going to support the whole weight down here. Of course, it's not going to weigh more than a few hundred pounds. It's fine, but we're going to be in this 1/2 inch bolts. It's not going anywhere. But that's what I'm saying. So you're going to skewer through, but you'll have your crosses and you can do some good burning. But that's it. 3/16 rivets to these struts, top and bottom. You have some in-between struts. You can see where like this guy here is this little vert there, and this guy here is there. Just don't get, just kind of don't get ahead of yourself. You'll have to sandwich these in. So you'll rivet these to these guys. And then before you cleco these actually into place, you'll have to put these braces in across each one. So that way, they fit in. And then you can cleco it together and then do your skewer and all that. So you guys are good at that. You know what's up. But other than that, it's a lot of seaming. Everything's in 2, 3 pieces because it's so long. But that's it. And then really, that's all you have to worry about is get this built, get this skinned, and then it goes out to paint. You have a back skin, you got a front skin, and then you're just going to put these fins on there. You just got a little bit of Lords to seam them together, and then you can just do a quick rivet job. Just make sure they face the right way. You've got the flange to the back, and then that puts us right at that sweet 3 inch apart right there that they want. and then the screens will be 1 inch down. So the TV screens will be like right there. So you should be good to go. Anyway, so that's it for the north box, for the main, for this vertical north box. And then kind of the same thing for the north rock is that I kind of overdid the bracing on these guys a little bit more because they have to hold the stone. But kind of the same thing. You're just going to make your frame. You're going to do your skewers. And I have 3/16 rivets. Same thing. You're going to take this little guy here and you're going to rivet it to this structure. It's on the outside there. And then that allows you to get it in place. But you have some in-between guys here. Make sure those get inside there and they're going to get trapped in between, each runner. Now on this guy, I went ahead and made provisions, and this is going to go forward. You're going to see this on the east and west as well, that these guys here, these fins right here, will they'll mate up against the 2x4. And so that allows you to bring this little stitch right here to the 2x4 and give it that strength. And that way you can burn it. Yeah, you can see right there. This little guy is going to make it back here. And so you're going to burn that to the 2x4. And then that way that ties that stick into this, and then it goes right to the steel pole. And then that's going to transfer our weight of our stone. So, but like I said, there's not much here that you haven't seen before. So really good. But going forward on the stone stuff, not so much this. If you want to throw like a safety rivet or whatever into the faces of these, that's fine. These just need to support themselves. Great. But for these 3 stone, the bottom stone area, let's safety these off because, really lords the crud out of them, and then throw in some countersink safety rivets because this has to hold the stone up. So we don't want to just rely purely on lords and the fact that, whether or not the stonemason's going to hit studs with his backer board. So let's make sure that you get some good mechanical backup to, or even if you want to countersink and do screws with countersink screws, either way, it doesn't have to be rivets, but whatever is easiest, but countersink, whatever. And let's give some safety mechanical to this. So that's going to be the north and the north period. So that's the north box, and that's going to be the north rock. So that's it there. So let's cross over to the east and the west rock, which is just more of the same of your north, except, and when you open up your PDF, again, because it's so big, that we're working down here. And so I went ahead and just put a green box around what you need to pay attention to. So you have your west and you have your east. So for that, you're cutting, you got your cut list down here. This is going to be 2x4. So you're going to bring in more of that, and it's just going to skewer. Again, you're going to be building this frame, nothing too crazy. Now you're going to start seeing that how things are going to mount to other things. So you're going to be doing these mounts that are to the back side of this box. And that is how these decorative boxes are going to mount with 1/2-inch hardware. So you'll see, so this box is going to sit on top of this box and go through. So you see the purple there. That's going to be these guys sticking up, these middle fingers. They're going to be sticking up out through the frame, and that'll be ready to take those box mounts here. So you can see that's right there and right there, right there, right there. You're going to be seeing those tie into, this. You can see where I'm transferring the load of this box over to where it goes to the pole, and then same thing here. So you're going to be seeing more of these mounts as you go, and then there's going to be some on the bottom. Oops. There's going to be some on the bottom of the crown boxes as well right here. So that's the main challenge, is figuring out how to transfer, mounting systems to each of these. So for these guys, you'll have these 2 mounts. This guy's all by himself. He'll just 193 Cleco into the frame and then drop down onto the 2x4 as such. Where do I have it? Here it is. So you got this little ride or die guy here. So he'll sit right there. You can burn him to the 2x4. And then he'll poke out and he'll be ready to receive that trim box. But otherwise you have just a single guy running down this way. On these ones here, because of the way this worked out, it was too much to put an 09 up against this like the other stuff. So these guys are kind of on their own. So you'll just rely on the Clecos up top in the frame and the bottom to hold them in place. And then you're going to put these middle guys have a 193 to sort of sandwich these in place and keep them steady. So you can kind of tack those in place. And then you're going to have this. Now, I would say for these guys here, this is the most tricky of all of them because this is the bottom mount. And so I wanted to transfer the load of this, this right here of all this guy, coming down and transferring and getting him down to this main mount unit here. So you're going to have this unicorn rhino looking thing. The little bit of a puzzle putting together, but I think what you're going to want to do is you're going to start with this plate, and then this plate just comes home right there, and it slides right down. Then you'll start packing in other plates. So like these little plates here, like these little guys here, they fit right in there in between, right? And then you'll have these front plates that go right in here. See where it says TTT, that's all here. So these guys go there. And then you're going to have this top, right? This says T here. It's going to have two grooves. That's this guy. So you can see when you slide this long plate down, it's got, come on, keep up. So it's got two dog bones there that are going to tie into that top plate. So that's the top plate there. That's the top plate there. And it goes all the way back. Like the other one, you can burn it to the 2.5 there, or the 2x4. So you can see this plate is going to slide right in, clunk. And then where those dog bones go is where that goes. And then the rest of them are typical. The rest are just going to go there all the way back. And then you have two here and two here. And then those tie into the main pad that actually mounts to the steel. So the red here is the steel. So you'll see, so that's the strut there that triangles out like that. That way they have access to get to the bolts. So they die out early. Excuse me while I jump around. So you can see where this is where that triangle starts, and then it gets long and goes all the way out to here. And that's where you're going to burn it against the 2x4. But it dies out here. So when you reach your hand in, they'll have the ability to get to this bolt without those struts being in the way. So there's plenty of access right there to reach your hand in. So anyway, so that's pretty much it. The south side that faces the parking lot is obviously it only has a single guy that goes up like that. And then it just has the same kind of system. But these are just more typical. So you're just going to put that strut, and put that guy and notch it in, and put that guy and notch it in. And then you can use this guy to burn to the 2x4, and then just burn it up real good. Again, I don't think you want to burn the whole thing, but make sure it's on there good. Make sure, do a nice 2-inch right here, and maybe a 2-inch here, and a little, 1-inch there and a 1-inch there. You don't need to go too crazy, but we want to make sure it's strong. So, but that's it for that. You just got to do that south side. You have a single trim mount all by itself that's next to the north. And then the north facing one is this one on steroids to help accommodate the mounts for the big old trim box. So, but good luck on that. Just kind of think it through. If there is something that doesn't fit and it's easier to grind the dog bones off, just make sure it lines up okay. But I think I got it figured out for you guys. But if not, you'll probably end up having to put all of this together, maybe with light tacks or something, and then sliding the frame down over it, and then clecoing it in after you've assembled it. I don't think you'll be able to assemble all this with the 09 frame. But anyway, so good luck with that, but kind of think it through. But again, that's really it for the weird stuff. Again, I'm talking again about this. You need to do those 1/2-inch 13 aluminum. You're just going to tack them, semi-weld them into the back of the 04 or back of the 09. I did a 045 relief into the island fill, but you're just going to go ahead and just do that. And then that is how you'll see where coming forward, once I get there, I'll jump off that bridge when I get to it, but we're going to have a mounting system that's going to make up for this 1.5-inch little gap here. That's going to tie, because you have this here and then you have really nothing there. So this is going to tie the rock west and the rock east to the vertical, the main vert west, and the main vert east will tie in with some sort of box that I still have to cook up. But since all of this stuff is being installed with 1/2x13 bolts right here, 1/2x13, nuts and bolts, we're just going to go ahead and do 1/2x13 weld nuts on everything, or through bolts or whatever. So we're just going to keep it all. So really, I don't foresee any 5/16 steel riv nuts. I don't see that. It's just going to be a whole heck of a lot of number 10 self-tappers for install. And for you guys, it's rivets, lords, and bring in a lot of 1/2x13 aluminum nuts to weld up for yourselves. So, but again, not a high LOE. It's just going to be a lot of work. The other thing to think of as we're going forward, so that's pretty much it for this. And the east is just literally in the mirror version. So everything I said, it's opposite side because now we're facing Arizona. This side faces Arizona. But essentially everything is a mirror. I think I did a good job of making sure I mirrored everything properly. But once I build the west, then I can just, you can see here's backwards. I just kind of mirror it. And I just try to make sure everything works. So east would be the one that might have something funky because I mirrored it from the west. So west is first. Anyway, even though, East Coast is better. What? Oh, hip hop wise. Weather wise, West Coast is better. But anyway, so that's it. So if you have any questions, that's it. But I think that's it's not going to be really difficult. Oh, what I was getting to is that this is a heck of a lot of square footage. So you can see where 2 of these is going to eat up a heck of a lot of the driveway, and you're going to have 2 of these, and you're going to have 2 of these, and so you're really going to have to start thinking it through. Also, building this, you might consider maybe if you do build these things on your tables. I know you got Edgar and Bird have their tables there. If you guys try to build this on your tables, great. But you might consider possibly moving your tables out of the way and creating some sort of, system of sawhorses or something that, because you don't want to build this in a way that it gets trapped in the shop either. You know what I mean? Because obviously, however it fits. So you're going to kind of want to build it over where your tables are and then shove it out Edgar's door, and then build another one and then shove it out, and again, think ahead of mobility. What's going to be good is you can see where like here's the panel for the rocks, like that's the rock west there, and then it has the long ass things that stick out. So these are going to be almost like tables, so they'll be really easy to like lay down. You want to make sure you're not putting too much weight on each one, but they'll stack okay. But they'll actually be transportable. Like you can see on the crown, you're going to have like these legs sticking out. So you might want to consider carts already. Maybe get some more carts, make sure you got plenty of carts, and get these things mobile and put carts on each foot like that. And then you can kind of wheel them around. Or we might be having to put these vertical and stack them vertically somehow, so because again, just by sheer amount of square footage, we're not gonna have room for all this stuff. So just have a consideration going forward of, don't trap yourself, don't build it into the shop and then can't get it out, ship in a bottle kind of thing. So anyway, just got to think it all through. So, but yeah, same thing here, countersink screws for the rock. Same thing for those. So just make sure that the east, west, and north rocks are mechanically backed up with the lords. All right, so that's it for this. You'll be expecting more cabinets, and I'll be sending a few more videos. Like I say, I'll do a full video for install, how I see it all going together. So, all right, that's it. We're counting on you. Good luck.
Check the technique. Check the technique.